The momentum alone sends me reeling forward. It barely even registers in my head that the woman's gone and the room is as normal as it can be. Not above the pain shooting up my side when I hit the floor. I don't even have the chance to get my bearings back when a hard enough blow to my stomach causes me to buckle down and land heavily on my knees. Gasping, I fumble wildly for my gun. Although before I'm able to turn, level it and shoot, a hand grabs my wrist and twists it. Hard. A gasp. A grunt. A cry of pain slips past my mouth. The gun falls to the floor with a thunk. As soon as it lands, a foot kicks it out of my reach and it slides uselessly under the bed. Agony suddenly explodes in my chin, jerking loose a sharp cry of pain, and stars fill the edges of my vision. A brief moment of regret hits me for leaving my taser with McCullough when a piece of cloth closes around my neck. Without warning, my attacker pulls, tight. I'm left gasping, choking and clawing for air, blindly reaching behind me as I try to fight him off and loosen the pressure on my neck. Except any sort of movement only causes him to pull a thought.
My, so many rats scurrying about in this mansion lately.
Johannes? Writes Butler. Shit.
Tell me, what did you do with the madam?
I have no idea what he's talking about. Did something happen to Hannah, right?
Let go, you asshole.
Now, Dummkopf, you're in no position to be rude. Last time I checked, I'm not the one breaking into other people's homes. Now answer my question. What did you do with the madam?
Hannah disappeared. Hannah fucking disappeared. The pain rings and resonates through my already sore body. Still, I manage to ride it out and spit a mutinous.
You.
Keep that dirty mouth babbling and you're getting a knife in the kidney. I assure you it will be more painful than this.
He really doesn't need to threaten me by now. It's all too much to bear. At this point, my lungs feel like they're burning with the lack of air. Dark spots begin to fill the edges of my vision. You know, this isn't how I wanted Ash to die. This is underwhelming. Ever so slowly, the world around me dims. My consciousness rapidly slips away from me. And without meaning to,
Get away from him!
hearing that voice as if I've been doused with a bucket full of ice-cold water. Familiar. Too familiar. And more importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it here. She shouldn't be here. Immediately, my eyes snap open. And right there, right on the attic's doorway, stands Isabel of all people. A rolling pin on one hand and a standard Ditcher police taser on the other. My taser. She must have borrowed it from McCullough. Where else could she have gotten one? I doubt she's ever used one even. Hell, the way she holds it right now, the guy can easily disarm her in one hit. But there's something in her. In her eyes. Although there's a look of fear in them and her hand shakes, she keeps the weapon trained and pointed at Scumbag's lackey. Untrained or not, she does not plan to leave here without putting up a fight, it seems. Admirable, really, but it's not something we need right now. I need her to be away from here. I need her to be safe. But the chances of that happening grow slim with every laughter that slips from him.
Oh, this is just getting better and better. The Bratwurst won't be pleased with the number of bodies we have to dispose of today, you know. Tell me, how many of you are there? So I can prepare the proper number of bags.
Damn it. What the fuck is going on? Why is she here in the first place? Did she follow after me? Who else came with her? Zach? Becca? Are they all here? Panic surges within me. She knows how bad the situation is, but did she really have to run in here and expose herself like that? Does she even know how to use a taser? For fuck's sake, more than worrying for my life, it's her I'm concerned about. Getting strangled, dying by choking isn't part of the plan, but her following me here isn't either. This is why I prefer to do things alone. This is why I'd rather be the only one to take the consequences. I don't even want to think about what this bastard might do to her after he's done with me. Though my voice comes off nearly a croak, try to tell her as much. She has to leave. Stay far from here and these people.
Don't! Damn it, Isabella! Get out of here!
Another bout of pain erupts in my side, cutting off my words. A cry of agony bursts from my mouth. I can taste blood in my tongue as I heave, attempting to get in as much air despite the towel still coiled around my neck.
Ash?
You're going to lose air quickly that way, Dummkopf. Better keep it shut.
Get out. Out.
Don't be stupid! I'm not leaving you here!
He laughs. Too cruel, too unforgiving. Since when was Johannes a murderous madman? The way each note beats against my ears, in spite of the warmth in them, sends chills down my spine. This is a man whose hands have already been stained with blood before. You won't hesitate.
I'd follow his advice if I were you, little girl. What could you possibly do with a toy? Just hand it over and be on your way. It'll probably be too difficult for a little girl like you to use.
There's a moment of silence. Fuck, I can barely keep my eyes open. But in the next second, though I still don't exactly understand what's happening, Isabel shouts. Not a cry of pain, not a yell of panic, but one that's resolute, firm, perhaps in a tone that's leagues fiercer than any I've heard from her before.
Try me. Ashton, duck!
And I do. More out of instinct and the desire to survive, closing my eyes before my mind can fully process what's going on. It all happens in a blur. The telltale sound of a taser being discharged resounds throughout the room. The air crackles. Something whizzes by, almost too close to my ear, followed by the thud of something blunt connecting solidly with another object. The next thing I know, the towel strangling me has started to loosen. I collapse on the floor, dazed and gasping for air. From my peripheral, through the haze of blood rushing and sounds slowly filtering back, the butler buckles. He spasms once. Then, without much fuss, falls face first beside me, knocked unconscious by 50,000 volts of electricity and a fucking rolling pin. He'll be out for a while. Have no idea whether I should laugh or cry at that. Somewhere in front of me, my oxygen-deprived brain vaguely registers Isabel's form. She slumps on the floor, also breathing heavily. Right next to her trembling hands, both the taser and the rolling pin lie useless and forgotten, while the mood in the room eases. A long, gradual process of the tension lifting. For countless seconds, we remain quiet, with only short gasps and sighs to fill the silence, allowing the adrenaline ebb away and both our breathing to slow. Not a true repose by any means, but a simple brief respite. There's still the curse, we're still inside the mansion in imminent danger, we still have no idea how to fix this. Outside, the rain seems to only intensify, lightning flashes fleetingly somewhere, wide and piercing, and the sky rumbles. No rest for the wicked. I stir first once recovered, having gained some semblance of sense and strength. Breathing still hurts, but it's bearable, as is moving, although every small motion causes a wince. There will be bruising tomorrow I can manage. Retrieving my gun from under the bed is easy, but only with some effort I am able to drag an unconscious man to the far end of the room, snapping one end of a handcuff on his wrist while fastening the other on the bed frame. That should keep him restrained for a few hours in case he wakes up prematurely. All through this, Isabel stays quiet. In fact, she hasn't even moved since. Her hands still shake while taking in long draws of breath while she stares vacantly in front of her, almost as if she's in shock. Perhaps she isn't even expecting any results, spurred only by some kind of desperation. Now it's sinking in. Unfortunately, we need to get moving. We don't have time to wait for everything to register in our heads. Kneeling in front of her, I give her a light shake.
Belle, we need to go. We can't stay here.
Obviously, we can't stay here. Slowly, she turns, staring at me with wide eyes. Worry flickers briefly in them along with something ineffable. Then, without warning, she lifts a hand and slaps me right across the face. The sound of it cracks the air, shattering the silence like a fragile glass breaking. Despite the familiar rumble of thunder outside, it manages to ring louder above the storm. I don't even know what hit me until my head has already snapped back and my cheeks sting with her anger. And it is anger. In spite of the stillness and the lack of words afterwards, not fuming though, never fuming, but the kind that burns lightly and soundlessly. A frustration instead of a seething rage. One that ebbs as quickly as it flows, and once the tide subsides, there's only that gleam in her eyes. Warm, steadfast, and unflinching. Quietly, I brace myself for the truth underneath that gaze. It slips from her lips, softly, nearly fading under the sound of the rain still falling fast, if not for the weight of each of her words.
What is wrong with you?
Belle,
If Zach didn't slip up, no one would have known where you went.
Belle, one person knowing is enough. Any more than that, and
You almost died. He could have suffocated you right then and there, and you could have died.
He should have died.
I told Zach to give me 4 hours. That would have been enough time to...
It would have been too late. And by the time anyone ever finds out, you're already fertilizer.
She trails off, drags one indrawn breath after another. A brief lull as her frustration finally gives, dissolves into something more pensive and somber. Her shoulders droop, and though her voice rises hoarse and wary, in her next words there's only certainty.
You count too, you know. When I said, that night when I told you, I don't want to lose anyone anymore. That includes you. Alive. We're still here, Ash. You have us.
If the man wants to die, let him die. Once their meaning fall, roar, it does so not with the force of a dam breaking or a raging storm, but with the gentle, steady warmth of a hearth burning, an ember easing slowly, lightly rising and giving, until all that's left is a truth, an understanding. Not alone. Never alone. It lingers, even as we both drift back into silence and her words take root, because in the gratitude that swells after is another warmth blooming. Pleasant, welcoming, like finding home, like finding ourselves in the haze the squall is left, creating something fragile yet immutable in both of us. It's in her eyes, in the way she holds my gaze, unwavering, in the way she carries herself despite sitting amidst a place she fears, in the way she keeps herself from trembling and falling apart, because fear is inconsequential when people she cares about are at risk. A change. She realizes that now, holds on to it. Another little thing, another small thing from her that may go unnoticed and pass by quietly, but will eventually amount to a lot of things. Tiny gestures that mean nothing at first but began to matter to me one day until... oh. Despite myself, a small smile slips from my lips as the same warmth from earlier unfurls in my chest. Unhurried, familiar, and bright from all the years I've carried it, but never have given the words for it.
Stop smiling like that, Ashton! I'm not done scolding you!
But this time they come easy.
I heard all of it. Don't worry.
Are you really okay? That guy hit you a little too hard on the head. Here, let me...
I reach up just as she extends a hand towards my face, catching her wrist in a light grip, drawing it closer and folding her hand in between mine. Oh god damn it! Although her expression does shift into mild confusion, she does not pull away like I'm expecting. She simply stares at me, searching. For her to allow a gesture from me that's perhaps too close, it tells a lot how far things have already shifted in the past few years. Cradled in mine, her hand still trembles. Most of the tremors have already subsided by now, though I doubt it'll fade away this soon. Even as I trace the lines of her palm in what I hope is a comforting gesture.
I'm sorry, Belle.
For what? Is this about what happened tonight? You can apologize later, when...
No, well, this too, but it's not just about this. It's for a lot of things.
God fuck.
For calling you clumsy and careless and a scatterbrain.
Are you sure this isn't a concussion?
You would think that, wouldn't you?
Well, you don't usually apologize.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that too. For all the times I've teased you and made you cry.
Unexpectedly, her fingers tighten around mine, our hands falling between us as something tender shifts in the air. Fuck! Fuck this fucking romantic subplot. Another exhale. Another drawn breath eases out of me, filled with every hesitation and uncertainties, but when I finally choose to break the silence, it's only when I know that what will slip past my mouth is the one truth I will hold against the world.
But for all those callous words, despite all those...
Fuck you, Ash. Fuck you, Belle. Fuck this romantic subplot.
There's nothing I don't love about you.
Oh god, that's so cringy.
In fact, those things, I love those. And everything that's you.
For a long moment, she offers no response. Her grip on my hand merely tightens. Although my heart's pounding hard against my ears, I take a chance and look up. Slightly leaning away and giving her a cautious glance, more than ready to hear her rejection. I am more than ready to hear that too. And it is one. It's all in her face, in fact. There's a pained aspect to it I can hardly name. Regardless of what it means to her or what she intends to convey with it, the sight of it alone makes me regret ever mentioning anything. It's almost as if she's about to have a panic attack. Not that I won't be able to take it or am expecting an answer from her. If anything, I think these past few days have proven how it might never work out between us. Though it's mostly my fault for saying all those wrong things when she doesn't need them. In the end, I just want her to know, that's all. But if knowing will put a heavier burden on her, I'd rather not have said anything at all. As expected, soon she hastily pulls her hand away from mine, and when she speaks, there's a stark refusal to meet my eyes. Not that I hold that against her. The situation's already awkward as it is.
Ash...
Belle, it's alright. You don't have to...
No, I'm really sorry, Ash. I can't do this kind of thing right now. I'm sorry. My family still needs me. My dad just died. And then there's still this curse going on.
You see, Ash, Belle has the right idea on mind. There's no time for this fucking contrived bullshit.
I'm really sorry. I just don't think of you that way.
And love triangle closed. Abruptly, she stands up before I can stop her, quickly backing away and putting as much distance between us. She never really makes it past the door though. Her foot catches on the rolling pin she dropped earlier and soon she's landing on her backside with a shout.
No!
Are you... okay? Here, let me...
Are you fucking kidding me? It's even gonna do this cliche shit?
No, I'm fine. It's okay. It's alright. I can't stand on my own.
Brushing away the hand I've offered her, she proceeds to pick herself up from the floor, albeit shakily. Still, she refuses to meet my eye and as soon as she can, removed herself from the attic without another word. I suppose that's to be expected. I suddenly jumped this on her. I bet the last thing she wants to do is talk about feelings when we're still in danger of dying from a curse. Hell, maybe even forget I said anything. Here's to hoping we still have a chance to fix this after we're done with the ghost problem. With a heavy sigh, I follow after her. Power still hasn't come back when we make our way downstairs. Tricky considering the stairs to the attic are a bit old. One misstep and anyone might end up slipping and falling. You're lucky if that's all that'll happen to you. With the stairs this steep, a broken neck is likely the outcome. Thankfully, Isabelle is here to guide me through the darkness. She knows this place better than anyone after all, in spite of all the misfortunes it's brought on us.
Careful, the floorboards over there aren't very sturdy.
Right on cue, the same board I'm stepping on creaks and suddenly breaks, the pieces falling somewhere with a dull thunk.
Oh shit. Scumbag wouldn't be too happy about that. Ow, foot.
See? I told you so. You never listen to me.
They renovated the whole mansion and they can't even replace one tiny part of the house.
Why don't you file a complaint to BRC then? I'm sure they'd be thrilled to hear it. You know it was such a rush job.
Outside, the winds have intensified. Even from here, I can hear the gusts battering the window in the attic. It makes you wonder why up until now, the only person we've encountered from this house is the butler. Although to some degree that makes sense, he is in charge of running the place. Where are the other servants though? In this storm, wouldn't anyone want to stay inside? A likely assumption if they're all asleep. The route I've taken doesn't really pass by the rooms they've likely assigned as the servants' quarters, however they also have heightened security. I've brushed it off earlier, thinking they'll be posted a lot closer to where the master's rooms are, but the second floor is devoid of anyone as well. As if every inhabitant of this place has suddenly disappeared overnight. More importantly, where's that scumbag? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. The fact that we're here right in the fucking middle of it makes me all the more queasy. And that feeling only escalates once we reach the landing and Isabelle swings the door open. She pauses abruptly right in the doorway that I almost run to her, a look of confusion in her as she wildly looks around the place, wordlessly taking in her surroundings. With each turn and shift of her eyes, her shoulder only grows tenser and a look of apprehension slowly dawns on her.
Isabella, what are you...
We aren't supposed to be here.
Sure enough, when I look up, we're standing right in the kitchen. Pots, pans, and all. In one corner, Zach and Rebecca watch as almost as surprised to see us. McCullough's also with them. Of course she didn't listen to me even if I've already exceeded the 15 minutes we've agreed on. Although color and strength seems to have already returned to her, enough for her to be able to stand unassisted. The empty plate on the counter appears to have played a part in that. Good news, I guess. As for the other two, however, relieved as I am that they've had the sense to wait and not venture deeper into the mansion, I can't keep but roll my eyes at both of them.
Zach, I said 4 hours.
I know, but Isabella asked and... Come on, bro, you know I ain't a very good liar.
And it didn't even occur to you to stop her?
We all tried, all right? She was out the door before we could say anything.
And how did you guys even get in here?
All three of them exchange a look. One that I absolutely don't like. In the end, it's Isabella who speaks up, albeit with a bit of hesitation.
We heard someone scream, Ash. It led us here.
Without warning, the door behind us slams shut.
We need to get out of here.
Screw right. I need to get these people out of here. Lucky we're in the kitchen and we have 2 ways out. The back door and the cellar offers. Except the hatch won't budge when I pull at it, and neither does the back door, as if something has locked it firmly on the other side. Zach also gives it a few tries, but even with the big guy's strength, it won't open. There's a long bout of silence in which we all simply look at each other, likely sharing the same thoughts. We're trapped. Something or someone has intentionally led us here. Fuck. In that same moment, once realization dawns in, something shifts again. Fuck. Okay, here we go. Blood. In every nook and cranny, over every surface and every inch of the floor. This time, unlike the first one I've seen, it remains, and gradually the whole room begins to reek of that familiar metallic scent, sharp and suffocating. Around us, every object, including the cupboards, have started to rattle as well. The sounds from outside, foreboding rumble of the thunder, and even the howling winds have begun to fade away, replaced by whispers, shouts, and cries of pain. Though inaudible, each beaten note bombards every crevice of my head with vague images and sounds. There's no time to make sense of everything, however. I'm already shouting, fueled purely by adrenaline, barking orders and making a break for the door that leads to the next room, the dining. It should take us straight to the foyer where the main door is.
Move! Run!
Right in front of us, the mansion has started to change, and we're in the thick of it. However, instead of the dining room like it's supposed to open to, the bedroom welcomes us instead. An image that lasts only but a second before blood begins to seep into the room. Filtering into the walls, trickling into every nook and cranny. Everywhere, furniture shakes and every beam rattles. Before we can even step back from the horror gradually unfolding in front of us, the door slams shut. A loud thud bringing a sense of dread and chill creeping up in each of us. Along with it is another realization: the whole place is reordering itself. And with the door closed tight behind us, showing no signs of budging even through sheer force, there's no choice but to go forward and hope to all the gods that it'll lead us to an exit. Until then, running's the only thing we can do, spurred by nothing but fear and a sense of desperation to live.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
But with each room we pass, it only becomes apparent that the house has no intention of letting us leave. It lured us all here and we've fallen for it. Now it's playing a little game with us, a sordid form of amusement. For whom? Their laughters are the only thing we can hear. With every hall we cross and door we slide open, the hope of finding an exit merely dwindles. The gun at my hip is useless here. I'm useless here. Some fucking genius I am. Some fucking person to trust I am. All of those, they mean nothing in the face of the unknown.
You finally figured it out. Huh, Ashton Frey. Just give it up. All of them will eventually die because of you.
Actually, all of them will be safe except for us.
And you are going to die alone.
Shut your fucking mouth.
You know it's true, though.
We're gonna kill you, Ashton.
All of it.
It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it.
You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
The more gruesome the place turns, the bleaker our chances simply get. Wails and screams fill our ears as we pass by, words from a time and people long gone, laced with nothing but pure agony, calling out, reaching out to us. Their voice is almost too real, as if we're not the only ones trapped here, that there are others begging for release from this wretched place. Or maybe it's all just a show, a taste of what we will eventually be, souls forever held captive in a never-ending nightmare.
Mother. I don't know. Take me with you, please. I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Is this what the curse is? What it means for all of us? That the letter not a morbid cry for help, but an invitation? A beckoning for unsuspecting souls to be dragged into this place's horrors, to be put under centuries and centuries of torment and agony? Suddenly dying a painful death seems preferable, enticing than ending up here living a tortured existence. Or perhaps it's all the same. Still, hope worms its way into me, not a usual thing for someone like me. But after going through countless doors and corridors, every little sign of hope I'm willing to cling to, as long as it'll get us out of here. We're back in the dining room again. How long have we been running? How long since we've left the kitchen? At some point, I've lost track of time. With the windows barred tight and the sounds lifting in the air, nothing but shouts and shrieks is impossible to tell. Not that it matters when an end is in sight. Shelves and furnishings bar the door, each stained with blood and gore. That if the situation isn't as desperate as it is, I'll find a different way out. But there's still a gap left at the topmost part for a person to go through, as long as he uses the shelves to climb.
It's an exit, all right.
From here, I can spy the familiar walls of the foyer. Relief. Only relief washes over me. Although my legs have been strained taut by all that running, and every bone and muscle in my body ache, there's only an easing. A sense of tension relieving while energy backflows through me again at the sight of an end. No sooner I'm leading us out of it. Zach helps McCullough first, assisting her up and through the gap, before giving a hand to both Rebecca and Isabella. The moment the ladies are in, I nod for him to go through.
Go ahead. I'll watch your back.
Surprisingly, he does that without any protest. Not that there's any need to. Sometime after entering this room, the whole place has calmed down. No wails, no whispers, just a silence too deafening. But I'm not letting my guard down until everyone's on the other side of this nightmare, safe. For all I know, this may just be a calm before another storm. Without further incident, however, Zach makes it to the other side and I'm following after him. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains though. Maybe it's the adrenaline still coursing through me or how easy everything has been after living through that nightmare, fleeting as it is. But for some reason, something's still nagging at me. Call it the detective's instinct or my training or whatnot. I have a feeling something's going to happen and catch us unprepared. Unconsciously, before dropping down on the better side of this dream, my hand shifts to the gun at my hip. Instinct has never failed me before. My feet haven't even landed firmly on the floor when...
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two.
Oh, hello there, scumbags.
People these days, in my own home. Can you believe it? I feel so left out.
A chill seeps into every vein of my body. All of a sudden, every ache, every pain returns to me tenfold and my knees threaten to buckle at the sound of his voice. Though it appears friendly, I know it's anything but. One does not spend investigating a man like him for over a year and holding a grudge against him for more without knowing everything about him. His quirks, his habits, I'm all familiar with them. And right now, Luke fucking Wright is beyond pissed. Shifting my gaze upwards is nearly too painful, knowing the danger. Not to me, but to those who have been lured here by the curse. The handgun catches my eyes first, next to that smarmy smile on his face while he holds McCullough, Zach, Rebecca, and Isabel at gunpoint. It's sight enough to lodge a painful thorn up my throat. I've been too complacent. Too focused on other things, I've completely set aside the fact that Scumbag will not be too pleased to see us here without knowing our reasons. But even with those good intentions, curses, and ghostly apparitions aside, we're still trespassing in his home. The question is if he's even aware that the whole household has somehow disappeared and he might be the only one here. Likely not. Fuck. Even with the people he knows among the crowd, there's a significant effort in him not to simply shoot everyone in sight.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is?
We're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Please, what?
Becca's right, sir. We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you, but really now. I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
Casually, he waves a handgun at them as if it's just a mere toy and his words are no threat. The safety is off on his, nothing stopping him from pushing through with his words. Call me paranoid, but at a slight gesture, I draw my own and level it at him. Finger on the trigger and ready to release a safety catch in case things go south. He is quick to train his own at me though, and just like that, we're at a standstill.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Shooting him right now will be so worth it, with the way he stares at me like I'm a damn pest, but this isn't what I've come here for. I'm not a murderer. As much as I loathe him, I'm not the kind who will kill people in cold blood, for my own gain or amusement. The law will bring him what he deserves one of these days. At the moment, however, we're all in the same boat with this curse, and he needs to understand that. The longer we stand here, the more time we're wasting and losing, something we don't have much of. But how can I convince him? This scum is so full of himself, prefers to hear the sound of his own voice more than those of the people around him, no matter how much sense they make. Probably the only way I can make him listen is if I beg. No way in hell that's happening. Maybe I should eliminate the immediate danger first and disarm him. Should we beg him to listen or disarm him? Let's say we disarm him.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
Begging won't work at all here. I don't think twice. Within the span of a heartbeat, I'm moving and pulling on the trigger. 2 shots in quick succession echo across the whole foyer and both hit their mark true. Wright recoils with a sharp cry of pain. His pistol falls uselessly to the floor with a loud clank, followed by drops of blood from his bleeding wrist.
Why, you insolent!
He's down in 2 successive steps when I tackle him on the floor, pinning him hard with my arm. Although before I can knock him out with a solid right hook, an agonized wail bursts through the tense air, loud enough to echo along the dark, empty halls of the mansion. Piercing enough for every occupant in the foyer to cover their ears and close their eyes. Then all at once, there are images. However, there's no time to make sense of it all. Amidst the discord and the noise, something whizzes past by. Too close, too swift. A brief keen blur that barely registers in my eyes, like an arrow quickly finding its mark and heading straight for it.
Zach!
Time slows to a stop. In one moment of clarity, my body moves on its own, heart pounding hard against my ears, blood rushing through every vein. Spurred only by adrenaline and a desperate bid to reach him, and I don't even get to yell for him a second time. I don't even get to call his name.
Ash!
An acute pain bursts through my chest in the next instant. All of a sudden, everything around me feels too sharp. Every edge, every point. Yes, finally, Ash, meet your fucking maker. Even the act of drawing a deep breath alone stings and burns my lungs, while an intense ache slowly spreads throughout my body. Numb. I feel numb. A hand comes away bleeding, shaking, while I can only let out a wet, ragged laugh. Soon, without warning, I'm going down on my knees and the whole world is pitching sideways. An arm, strong and steady, is on me the second I stumble back, catching my fall. Zach has always been there, after all. Even now, nothing has changed.
Ashton.
Yes, Ashton's gonna die! His hands are shaking as he looks at me with dread. A pang of regret hits me at the sight of it.
Sorry, Zeman.
Hey, bro. Stop talking, will you? This isn't...
It seems this will be the last time anyone will call you that.
There won't be anyone to cause you trouble anymore.
Bro, this ain't the time to be. Just stop it with the jokes!
Cautiously, despite the stabbing aches shooting up at every movement, I reach a trembling hand up to bump a fist against his chest, just like the old times. My arm never makes it far, however. Midway, he meets my hand, catching it in a tight grip as if it's to hold on to the life slowly slipping away. Not that he'll be able to. The pain is easing, everything's already going cold.
Don't worry, bro. We'll get you to a hospital. Just don't move, okay? You're gonna make it worse. You'll be fine. You can call me. Man, you can call me, see, man. All you like, after you're fine. We'll get you help.
I'd like to agree with him on that, reassure him. But I've gone through a lot, survived a lot of shit. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that I'm done for. Whatever hit me, a hole in my chest is fatal enough. I don't think I'm going to bounce back from this. Dying.
I'm sorry.
Yes! I should be afraid in this moment. Yet I'm not. No fear. No dread. Just an acceptance. A deep regret as she appears before us, her voice echoing throughout the foyer. Hannah? At the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands. To make matters worse, that thing's behind her, menacing, a rotting hand wrapped firmly around her neck. She looks like death. Pale and shaky, eyes red with tears. We nearly don't hear her as she pleads.
Help me. Please.
Oh no, she's got Hannah! I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now you're dying, meddlesome fool. Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and the clap of thunder ripples across the sky. Here, there's only a whispered sigh, a fading breath, and a lone heart that beats hard one last time. She got one thing wrong, though. I did not die alone. The shit! The shit! And that's it for this episode of The Letter, everyone. It's time to fucking celebrate because Ashton motherfucking Frey is dead. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I have, like and subscribe so we could grow our channel together. Once again, my name is Nez and thanks for watching. The next chapter seems like a doozy because our blonde waifu seems to be in the hands of death. But until then, I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.